passed. Inland Revenue Amendment Bill 2013. We now resume the second reading debate on the Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Schemes Amendment Bill 2012. Mr. Chan Kam Lam, Chairman of the Bills Committee on the above bill, will address the Council on the committee's report. The Honourable Chan Kam Lam. President, as Chairman of the Bills Committee on the Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Schemes Amendment Bill 2013, I present the report of the Bills Committee to the Council.
I'll be reporting the highlights of the deliberation by the committee. The purpose of the bill is to amend the Stamp Duty Ordinance and the Inland Revenue Ordinance in order to provide tax treatment similar to conventional bonds. 7 meetings were held by the Bills Committee to discuss with the administration the contents of the bill and to meet with deputations, and 13 submissions were received. The members of the Bills Committee supported the enactment of the bill and is aware that market players and deputations would like the bill to be enacted as soon as possible in order to promote Hong Kong as an international platform for the issuance of suduk and to enhance the competitiveness of Hong Kong's financial services and consolidate Hong Kong as an international financial center and asset management center. We note that the bill has adopted a religion-neutral approach, and some of the more common Sharia terms have not been used, and they're concerned that for bond issuers of suduk, they might not be aware of the new approach adopted while dealing with suduk. The administration indicated that we have copied from the experience of the UK, and in the course of drafting the legislation, we have adopted a religion-neutral approach. The bill does not specifically refer to terms of Sharia, and the purpose is to ensure that in interpreting tax legislation under Hong Kong's legal system, we would be unnecessarily bringing in principles of Sharia. The Bills Committee noted that the market is generally in support of the religion-neutral drafting approach, and there have been no difficulties in understanding the operation of the bill. And members also noted that with regard to ABS, that would include debt arrangement, bond arrangement, and investment arrangement, and there are also qualifying conditions. And members noted that some deputations have some concerns about the specific operation and the impacts of reasonable commercial returns under bond arrangement. And the administration explained that well, there are different tools under suduk, and from the perspective of investors' return, actually some of these would be debt-like, and some would also be linked to equity profits, and therefore, in coming up with the reasonable commercial returns, that would also be able to ensure that the nature of such suduk would be debt-like, and they would be receiving tax treatment similar to conventional bonds. And the administration also clarifies that as far as taxation is concerned, they would be treated as bond arrangement, and the conditions would also not prevent the bondholders from getting better returns from such products. Members also noted that with regard to the bond arrangement and investment arrangements, that some products might be disqualified, and the understanding is that if they are not able to meet certain qualifying conditions, then they will be disqualified. And some members also expressed concerns that there might be serious consequences as a result of the disqualification, and some members further consider that a bond issuer should be allowed to make ratification for the disqualification event within its time limit so as to prevent the withdrawal of the specific tax treatment or stamp duty relief. And thus, the administration also pointed out that this would be dealt with on the basis of unavoidable commercial circumstances. The administration pointed out that it's difficult to determine what's meant by unavoidable commercial circumstances, and the administration is also concerned about a possibility under which an ABS might be deliberately structured to avoid tax. The administration pointed out that the bond issuer is required to report to the CIR or CSR in writing of the occurrence of any disqualifying event within 30 days after the event. And the IRO would also provide a 30-day grace period for delay in disposing of the specified asset to deal with market concern. The Bills Committee noted that with regard to the 4 investment arrangements under the bill, that would already cover the 5 most commonly seen bond structures in Sudok. But then in order to make our tax laws more flexible, in order to cover other categories under ABS when it's becoming more popular, new Section 17A or Schedule 17A Section 22 would be included so that the FS would be given powers to specify the broadened scope in order to catch up with market changes. With regard to the longest terms for ABS, after considering market opinions, the administration has already extended the original 10-year period to no more than 15 years in order to cope with future market needs. There is also this new Section 16.2 under Schedule 17A of the IRO, empowering the FS to specify the maturity term in the form of subsidiary legislation, and that will also be done by negative vetting of this council, and the Bills Committee supports this. As the legal framework for Sudok would involve a number of technical issues, the Bills Committee welcomes the CIR and also the Director for Stamp Duty to issue implementation guidelines and interpretation in order to facilitate the implementation and compliance by market players. For example, with regard to the disqualification of certain products, and also the reasonable commercial return condition, and also the setting of the bond for the purpose of stamp duty and so on. Whereas Sudok is a brand new commercial financial tool, and the structure is a lot more complicated than conventional bonds. And the Bills Committee noted that in dealing with disputes involving Sudok, there would also need to be sufficient training. And the Bills Committee also urged the administration to train up enough number of practitioners and professionals who are familiar with Sharia, so that they will be able to support the development of Sudok in Hong Kong. And in terms of investor protection, the administration explained that like other conventional financial services products, in terms of the offering or publicity or marketing and disclosure of information, and also intermediaries, they would also be subject to the SFO. With regard to the resolution of disputes involving Sudok, the administration indicated that for bond issuers of Sudok, they will have to ensure that all the bonds would be in compliance with the requirements of the Sharia, and also the document would also set out how disputes would be resolved in accordance with the relevant legal system. On top of that, the administration emphasized that they've already stepped up training for professionals and market players familiar with Sudok, and they would also step up communication with the relevant international organization in order to deepen our understanding of the latest global development. With regard to the deliberation details of the Bills Committee, they've been set out in the report, and the Bills Committee would not be moving any CSAs, and the Bills Committee supports the amendments moved by the administration in order to set out more clearly and enhance some of the drafting of the bill. The Bills Committee supports the second reading debate of the bill. I'll now move on to the views of myself and the DAB. With regard to the development of SUDOC, the trade and the sector have been waiting for that for a long time, and we are all supportive of that. And the amendment bill is to ensure that SUDOC would be able to enjoy the same tax treatment as other conventional bonds, and that would facilitate the competitiveness of SUDOC business in Hong Kong. And we have had a very detailed discussion on this, on the requirements for investment arrangement and bond arrangement, and also protection for investors and so on. All these have been dealt with properly, and I'm of the view that the bill would have a positive impact on Hong Kong's financial services market, and there is a lot of potential with the SUDOC market, and some estimated that the asset would be more than $700 billion, and many banks have already been working on the development of SUDOC products, and they've also invested a lot of resources on this, both London and Singapore, which are also international financial centers, and they are also developing SUDOC as one of their highlights in their future work. And therefore, we are of the view that Hong Kong is converging with all these international markets, and that would also be in line with SUDOC's requirement, and that would also be in line with diversifying the development of our financial markets, and also the development of more bond products. And the development of SUDOC would also help stabilize our financial market, because they are somewhat different from other conventional products, because they would just go by a basic principle. That is, they will have to rely on material product and also some tangible services, and therefore most likely they would be pegged to assets, and therefore the bond holder would hold the rights of those assets instead of the equity, and therefore these products are relatively stable, and therefore it's a safer way to raise funds. And because of this characteristic of SUDOC, where there is any financial crisis, they would stay afloat without being affected. And in fact, in the wake of the financial tsunami, they have been developing very steadily. And if you look at the issuance amount that has been climbing year after year, it's been tripled within a few years' time, and it has become one of the most popular products in the financial services market. In fact, SUDOC would attach a lot of importance to the real economy's development. For example, China's economy, including agriculture, medical services, and also contract products and so on. They would also be things that we can market to these bond issuers. We hope that Hong Kong can seize the opportunity and take advantage of its geographical position, so that we'll be able to take advantage of the opening up of the market on the mainland, so that we'll be able to match the bond issuers with these assets, and that would also help Hong Kong play the role of an intermediary between the two. And as an international financial center, we must have a comprehensive system in place. We also have to have mature investors and market players and practitioners, and ABS is a relatively new product, and our experience in this regard is relatively less, and therefore the administration should issue guidelines so that market players will have a better understanding of the requirements under the law. And we should also step up training for market practitioners and investors. On the one hand, we'll be able to ensure that there will be enough pool of talents to provide the services, and we also have to have market practitioners providing professional services, and that would also help enhance the understanding of the investors in the products, so that the market will be able to generate sufficient interest in the products. So the DAB supports the amendment.
Does any member wish to speak? Mr. Kenneth Leung. President, thank you. I am a member of the Bills Committee on the Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Schemes Amendment Bill 2012. I and my professional body support this bill to create the market for the issuance of Islamic bond. Back in 2007, the former chief executive had mentioned that in his policy address. As a matter of fact, I have been urging the administration to get on with this as soon as possible, but unfortunately it took something like 6 years for this to come to pass, but it's always better late than never. In the international financial market, the Islamic bond, or sukuk, has been developing rapidly, taking up a significant role in the Islamic world and non-Islamic world. The asset in the 1990s, it was $100 billion. It is now $1.3 trillion US dollars. Organizations involved in the sukuk, the number stands at 600, spread over 70 countries in the world. In 2012, the Dow Jones Islamic Bond Index decapitalization is 14 trillion US dollars. Now, this bill is rather technical in nature. It is difficult. It is a new instrument for Hong Kong, like Mr. Chen Kam-lam said a moment ago. After the passage of this bill, we hope that there would be IPN and DIPN to be issued by the CIR and CSR. And I do hope that the tax authorities will issue these SOIPN and DIPN, and hopefully this will be referred to the Tax Liaison Committee for scrutiny. If I may turn now to the Inland Revenue Department and also the arbitration or the adjudication mechanism by the Inland Revenue. I hope that the IRD will execute its charter and handle all these advance ruling cases. I'd like to take this opportunity to also say this. This advance ruling mechanism exists only in the Inland Revenue, not only exists in the Inland Revenue Ordinance. I hope that under the stamp duty ordinance, there would also be an advance ruling mechanism to be created, so that the companies and individuals would be able to seek advance ruling to see whether there would be any liabilities arising from stamp duty. We also mentioned that in this bill there are 4 different investment instruments, and I hope that the Bureau will give the undertaking that there will be a review of these different instruments to see whether they are the most popular products in the market, and also whether there would be any new products that can be included into the list. Now, with the passage of this bill in the Islamic finance market, Hong Kong will compare well with Malaysia, Singapore, Japan, and so on. We will be on the same par with all these jurisdictions in terms of tax law. We can tell the Islamic world and the issuers that we do have a fair and credible platform for them to engage in trading. But I hope that I think that the government is always lagging behind in terms of publicity. Now, with the passage of this bill, I hope that the administration will liaise with the trading partners and the investors in the mainland about this platform. As members said, this is a new and rather complicated financial product. I hope that there should be education for the Inland Revenue Department staff and also the staff of the banking sector dealing in the sukuk. Thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? If not, then I'll now invite the Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury to respond, and then the debate will come to an end.
President, first of all, I'm grateful to the Chairman of the Bills Committee, Mr. Chen Kam-lam, members of the committee, the Secretariat, and the legal advisor for all the efforts put in over the past 6 months so that this Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Scheme Amendment Bill 2012 was successfully scrutinized, and I'm also grateful for this opportunity for this bill to be given the second reading so that the tax framework for Sukuk can be implemented as soon as possible for us to become a platform for the trading of Sukuk. I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank the individuals and deputations attending the Bills Committee meetings, and also the market practitioners, organizations, and professional bodies who kindly expressed their views during the consultation. I'm grateful to them for the invaluable views. The bill has incorporated their practical ideas to meet the needs of various parties. President, the scale of the Islamic finance has been expanding 10 times over the past 3 decades. As of 2012, the value then stood at 160 billion US dollars, and the issuance volume has also registered noticeable increase. The Sukuk issuance in 2012, the value stood at 131 billion US dollars, up by 54% on 2011, expected to go even higher in 2013. The rapid rise of Sukuk in the international financial market means that we have to seize the opportunity and diversify our market and develop products in this area in order to buttress our position as an asset management center. And as an international financial center and a national financial center, Hong Kong does have a unique position to bring together the fundraisers and also the investors from Middle East, China, and the rest of the world who are interested in Sukuk to engage in investment. Therefore, to build a trading platform for this purpose, a conducive tax law framework would be indispensable. Other jurisdictions like the UK, Malaysia, Japan, and Singapore have been moving in this direction to change the tax law. The product structure of Sukuk is rather more complicated than conventional products. Under the existing tax legislation, the issuance of Sukuk would incur additional profits tax and property tax, and because of the multiple asset transfer, there would be additional stamp duty liabilities. Therefore, we are proposing to amend the legislation to remove all the obstacles regarding the development of Sukuk in Hong Kong. President, I must reiterate that the bill is not really meant to provide any special tax concession for the Islamic finance. The purpose of the bill is to make sure that similar financial instruments will be given similar tax treatment. The bill covers quite a number of product structure that are commonly seen in the Islamic bond market. We adopt a religion-neutral principle. We refer to these products as ABS, alternative bond schemes. Under the bill, the Financial Secretary can, through subsidiary legislation, expand the scope of the ABS to meet with the market development. To make sure that the ABS will be no different from the conventional instruments, the bill has put in place a set of eligible conditions for the tax treatment for the ABS, so that they would enjoy the same tax treatment as conventional products. This would avoid the possibility of tax evasion and also require allow the Sukuk to be sold and marketed in Hong Kong. At the same time, we also amend the IDO Inland Revenue Ordinance and also the stamp duty ordinance to provide tax relief for the ABS arrangement. President, the Bills Committee supports the framework and relevant provisions. The government will be moving committee stage amendments in response to members' views. All these CSAs are intended to technically amend the provisions to make them more specific and clearer so that the market practitioners would find it easier to understand. President, in order to facilitate the development of the sukuk market, we do need to have a promotion in the international arena and also staff training. The Hong Kong MA and the Treasury Markets Association organize from time to time seminars and talks to deepen understanding about sukuk for the market practitioners. Like, for instance, there was a seminar organized by the IFSB, Islamic Financial Services Board, coordinated by the Hong Kong MA, which attracted quite a lot of interested parties from the region and Hong Kong. Going forward, we will continue with all these initiatives in order to promote the development of sukuk and encourage people and investors to use our platform for fundraising, asset management, and all the rest of the financial activities. President, sukuk does offer considerable potential in the financial market. To promote the sukuk market, it will enhance our competitiveness and also strengthen our position as an international financial center and asset management center. I urge members to support the passage of the bill and also the CSAs to be moved at a later stage. Thank you.
I now put a question to you, and that is that the Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Schemes Amendment Bill 2012 be read the second time. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Schemes Amendment Bill 2012. Committee stage. Council is now in committee. I now propose the question to you, and that is that the following clauses stand part of the Inland Revenue and Stamp Duty Legislation Alternative Bond Schemes Amendment Bill 2012. Clauses 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 to 16, 22 to 29, and 31 to 35. Does any member wish to speak? I now put a question to you, and that is and I'll put the question to you as stated. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Clauses 4, 6, 17 to 21 and 30. Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. Chairman, I move that clauses 4, 6, 17 to 21 and 30 be amended and as set out in the paper distributed to members. In the course of scrutinizing the Bills Committee made a number of valuable comments. In response to these comments, I'm now moving these amendments, and these amendments are technical and drafting in nature in order to make the provisions clearer so that market practitioners would find it easier to understand the details of the bill. Here, I'd like to explain a number of the details to members. First of all, Clause 4 of the bill in the newly added Clause 17A to the schedule, I like to introduce this definition of special purpose vehicle, and then we will be using the same term in Clause 2 to 3 in order to make it clearer so that for bond issuers under ABS, what's the meaning of a special purpose vehicle. This is in line with the market's practice. I've also accepted the suggestion that Clause 10 of Schedule 17A will be simplified, and there would also be this new 11A in order to set out the special arrangements and the more commonly seen investment arrangements concerning lease arrangement, profit sharing arrangement, and purchase and sale arrangement will be incorporated. And also, under the newly added 5A, Part 5A, Clause 47G, there will be an amendment authorizing the Stamp Duty Office Director in dealing with stamp duty exemption application. He can specify and require the bond issuer to give a guarantee in order to reduce the chance of tax avoidance, and that is in line with the requirement for any tax exemption application under 47F concerning bond issuers and bond arranger. And in response to the newly added Schedule 17A, Clause 6, 7, 9, 21, 23, and 24, and 26, I'm now going to move amendments. And also, under Clause 21, with regard to the newly added 47H under the Stamp Duty Ordinance, we have further clarifications in order to make our intention clearer. I'll also be moving an amended Clause 6. The purpose is to amend Section 14A of the Inland Revenue Ordinance with regard to the definition of debt instruments. That clause used a wrong reference with regard to the commencement date when we enacted the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill 2011. And after deliberation by the Bills Committee, the administration decided to move an amendment to clarify that even if there is this reference, we will have to act in accordance with the proper commencement date, and the tax assessed would be treated as valid, and tax concessions would be offered in accordance with the relevant debt instrument. Well, for the other amendments, they are technical and they are technical in nature and mostly are in relation to the drafting aspect, and they've been accepted by the Bills Committee. And I urge members to support the amendments suggested by the Bills Committee and moved by me.
讓各位提出嘅待決議題係財經事務及庫務局局長動議嘅修。
I now put a question to you, and that is that the amendments moved by SFST be passed. But those in favour, please raise their hands. Those against, I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the members. By majority of the members present, I declare the amendment passed. Clauses 4, 6, 17 to 21 and 30 as amended. I now put a question to you, and that is that the clauses 4, 6, 17 to 21 and 30 as amended stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please raise their hands. Those against, I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Council now resumes. Third reading. Inland Revenue